Hello, it's me and Sari. We're live on my Facebook page.
Oh, I thought you were on the radio then, like you didn't tell me.
So yeah, we're just about to go live again. So I thought I'd put you on. Well, I thought I would just give you some information because we're talking about all things mental health today, and maybe you might want to contact the studio. How are you going to do that? Well, you can phone us on a landline that's stuck to the wall on 01257 262 661. You can check us out on Facebook. You just need to look up Chorley FM on Facebook, and you can do that tweeting thing where it's Chorley FM, or you can text the studio on 07903 100 100 and just start off your text messages with capital C FM and leave a space. And I just wanted to give a massive shout out to my son-in-law Johnny, because it's his birthday on Monday. I'm not quite sure how old he is, but in 2 days time he'll be having his birthday, and he'll be away from his darling wife, my daughter Michelle, and their little baby Alfie, because he works away Monday to Friday, so he doesn't get to see them, which is a bit of a shame. Right, Sari Taylor in the studio.
Hi.
Your mic wasn't up then.
Can you hear me? Oh, there she is.
Forgot to put a mic up. That's not very good, is it?
Can I do a little shout out?
Of course you can do a shout out.
I just had a message when we were listening, dancing away to the music, from my gorgeous little nephew called Carter, who's not even 2 yet.
Oh.
And my daughter messaged to say that he was saying Auntie Sari, and he was asking for Baby Shark.
Oh yeah, my system crashed this morning, so I'm not sure I can put that on.
I can do it. Baby Shark,
Baby Shark, do. Especially for Carter.
Yeah, I'll be dancing to that.
So tell me a bit about this manual that you've had produced, printed, hardback copy. Show it on your Facebook book and on my live. We can show
it on the radio. There it is. People on my page have seen it because I never stop going on about it.
What we're doing at the moment is I'm going live on my Facebook page, so Sari's showing it. It's the Healthy Minds Manual, created for families. Amazing book. I got a signed copy.
A little message.
Limited edition.
Yeah, it's something that it's basically just all of the little. It's full of little metaphors and examples, and situations that we talk about all of our thinking really, and how we overthink things, and talks a little bit about phobias in there. It talks about when we're stressed, it talks about confidence, self-esteem, loads of different things really. And the idea of it is I just wanted to put something together that people could access, that there's lots of people out there that maybe want support and want help, and I know that I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but the NHS waiting lists are very long. Not trying to be negative, but
you've already said it now.
Well, yes, you're right. They're very long, and so people do come to people like myself who work privately. But I also appreciate that not everybody can afford to go and see a coach or a therapist every week, because it costs. I was going to swear then. It costs a lot of money. So I wanted to put something together that just gives people that initial starting point to, get some ideas of how they can start seeing things slightly differently. And I've done it I'm all about simplicity, as you know. I don't like overcomplicating things. I like to say it as it is, very simply. So it is very simplistic, and I'm getting really good feedback from it.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. You can, again, if you go on Sari's page, you'll be able to find a link to find that. Myself and Sari both trained in transactional analysis psychotherapy, which I keep saying it's easier to do than what it is to say, because it's a right mouthful. So we're both qualified psychotherapists, but I think we've both jumped ship more recently, and we now call ourselves coaches.
We do.
And a lot of my material for my business says that I'm a coach, and people look me up and down, and I think they think I'm like a personal coach, as in a gym, which if you could see me, you would know that is not what I'm coaching. So that's one thing. But we both talk an awful lot now about the 3 principles. So do you want to say a little bit about, when you're talking about keeping things simple, I think the 3 principles is a very simple process to follow.
She says.
Well, yes. Yeah, it's very difficult to explain.
It's almost so simplistic that once you start to understand a bit about it, it's just like a knowing or a sense that you get. And it can be, when people say explain what it is, it's like, right, where do you start? And that's another reason why I did that manual. But If I had to say it in the most simplistic terms, I would say there's 3 parts to it. The first part is very much about realising that you are more than capable of taking care of yourself. You do know what to do in any given moment, even in a really stressful situation. You know, your mind and your body know exactly what to do, and it's trusting in that innate well-being that you have, that when people are in a thought storm and are really overwhelmed, often the lever's gone, but it hasn't gone anywhere. So that's the first thing, is about pointing people back into that direction of seeing that they do have access to that. The second part is all about your thoughts, which I've mentioned a number of times, and understanding more about how thought works and how naturally thoughts do pass very quickly, unless that is that you decide to hold on to them. So that's the second part. And the other part is the bit where people get a bit stuck sometimes, because
woo-woo sometimes.
Big words, big like consciousness and awareness. But ultimately, the way I simplify that is, you know, as a human being, we have mood fluctuations, and that's very normal. So, you know, the idea of you get up in the morning, you're not feeling too great, that doesn't mean that that day is written off. And it's about helping people understand that it's very normal for that to fluctuate. And again, a bit like the thinking part of it, it's learning to not hang on to that. You know, there's a difference between, we all get irrational thoughts, we all get thoughts that make us feel uncomfortable, but it's what you do with them. So you might have one thought that starts out as, I don't want to go to work tomorrow, and okay, that's a thought, creates a little bit of discomfort, and then it goes, and then you're doing something else. Whereas you then have a choice, and other people are like, I don't want to go to work tomorrow, I don't like my boss, and my colleagues are getting on my nerves, and I've got all this to do, and oh, it's such a long day, and I've got the whole week ahead of me, and layer and layer and layer of thoughts going on top that then create a whole load more feelings. So it's helping people, I suppose, learn to just let them go a little bit more.
Yeah, I think for me as well, I like paperwork, I like handouts, I like things written down, I like going on training courses, and I like learning lots of new things. But with this, a lot of it comes from the inside out. It's all about inside out thinking.
Yeah.
So my inside out will be different to your inside out, because we all experience the world through our thinking.
Yeah.
But obviously we have different experiences. There's an example where, and I think you've got this in the manual, where you can watch a film, and I would feel differently about that film and think differently to what you would. I might, you know, that was so emotional, and I so connected with the woman, you know, the lead role and everything, and you might think that was an utter load of garbage, didn't get it, didn't connect, didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
So it just explains how different we are, and a lot of the 3 principles for me is about living life being human.
Yeah, accepting, because the more, you know, I hear people saying, well, I hear the words all the time connected with anxiety about, I'm going to fight this, I'm going to face it head on, as though it's an enemy, as though it's something we have to battle with and tackle. And actually a big part of reducing anxiety is realising that one of the ways I describe this is, it's kind of like when we're sending messages to our brain that we're in danger, we go into fight or flight, and our brain sends messages to our, you know, speeds up our heart rate and everything else, because we're telling it we're in danger. It's doing exactly as it's asked. It's working perfectly well, and yet we see it as the enemy. And it's kind of like, I think I say this in the manual, it's like asking someone to do something for you, and then they do it, and then you shout at them saying, what have you done that for? Why have you done that? And it's exactly the same thing. So it's again about being more compassionate with yourself, and seeing that the way that your mind works and the way that your mind sends messages to the rest of your body to react is not your enemy. It's absolutely doing what it's designed to do, and albeit sometimes it's doing it a lot more often than you would like, but you've just created a habit. So it's about understanding that that's a habit, and then being able to change that.
Yeah. And again, people want to know, what do I do to stop it? How can I stop it? Is there a process I need to do? Can I learn? Can I go on a course? Will you teach me what to do? And it's all about insight. It is so simple, but it's about being, you know, learning to be comfortable in an uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah.
And another thing that it's often spoke about is that we have an internal GPS or sat-nav. And often you will go to where you need to go, if that makes sense, as far as your thoughts are concerned, and your awareness and your feelings and everything. It's a very inside-out way of looking at things.
Yeah, definitely.
And one of the things often that I was, you know, guilty of, I'll hold my hand up, is that you know, if I had an argument with my husband, he made me feel a certain way. His actions made me think and feel this way, and the reality is his actions didn't. It was my thinking about the event that changed the way that I felt.
Yeah.
And sometimes to explain that is really difficult.
It is, but
I need to do something. I need to react. He made me feel this way, so I need to not speak to him for 3 days and not feed him and 101 other things.
Should be feeding himself, should he not? But it is, and there can be a huge amount of relief when you start to realise all of this stuff. Although it can be a bit frustrating in the beginning, there is a huge amount of relief, because it's ultimately about having that trust within yourself again to go, I can do this, and I'm more than capable, even with anxiety. You know, one of the most common questions again that I get asked by lots of people on my pages, do you not get anxious anymore? And it's like they're looking for me to go, no, it's magic,
Cured.
and I never feel any anxiety. You know, read my manual and I promise you'll never feel anxious again. And that is not the case, because it's a very normal part of being human. However, feeling like you can't leave the house for 3 weeks because you're stuck in fight or flight, that isn't what we need to be managing, and isn't how we need to live our lives. But once we get that understanding, it starts to settle. But it is about saying, it's accepting who we are, and that we will, you know, some days I'll wake up and I'll feel anxious and I don't know why, and I have no reason. But what I used to do is try and figure out why. This needs to be gone by lunchtime. If it hasn't gone by lunchtime, it will probably be the same again tomorrow, and this goes on and on. Whereas now, if I wake up and feel a bit anxious, I recognise it and I just go, oh well, you know, carry on with the day. And it subsides, you know. And I get that there might be someone listening to this that has experienced severe anxiety thinking, yeah, whatever, it's really not that easy. And I've been there, you know, but it really is. You know, it really is that easy.
Yeah. So we will be back in a few minutes. We need to play some songs because it's a radio, and I think that's what they usually do on the radio.
We've been going on, haven't we?
So I'm going to play some songs and then we'll be back soon.
Bye.
Oh, that was good.
Some people are a lot like clouds, you know.
Ooh.
Cause life's so much brighter when they go.
Look at her now. She's just looking at her stuff now.